Hey everybody, Max here, and today I'm going to be looking at this newly revealed Daredevil Born Again MCU figure. This is to coincide with the premiere of the Daredevil Born Again series on Disney Plus. Fingers crossed that it lives up to the hype and the quality of the Netflix series. Daredevil is my all-time favorite superhero, and I never in my life thought we would get one season, let alone 3 seasons, of a very solid Daredevil TV show. So I certainly hope that this new series is just as good. So fingers crossed. Is the figure I'm hoping the figure looks good. I am hoping that it is of a very good quality once I get it in hand. I will be ordering it even though it does not come with as much as I would like it to, and because it's an MCU figure, I can almost guarantee you that it is limited in some of its articulation. So I do not think we will see a boot cut. I haven't yet to see an MCU figure that has it. The Wolverine figure from the Deadpool and Wolverine movie did not have a boot cut. And I don't think it had butterfly joints either. So this does not look like this guy has butterfly joints. Maybe it has a floating shoulder, something like that, but it doesn't have drop down hips. I'd be surprised if it did. But the hips right here look like they flare out a little bit. So maybe we'll get a little more range of motion in the legs because Daredevil is a very acrobatic character. He's one of those characters that would deserve and need drop down hips to get better range of motion in the legs. Typically, I don't like those in a lot of different figures, but characters like Spider-Man, Daredevil, Nightcrawler are very agile, acrobatic characters. Really do need them for better acrobatic poses. I bet he has a waist swivel. It doesn't look like an ab crunch. I mean, it's got lines here, but I don't think that's an ab crunch. I think what we're going to get is just a diaphragm cut and a waist swivel. So that I would be surprised if this is an inverted ab crunch. I just don't think that they would give that to us. And it's a shame that we don't get butterfly joints, but it looks like we got, it's an all new sculpt. It's not just a repaint of the or an update version of the original Netflix Daredevil. I didn't get that one. I wish I had, but this looks like a completely new sculpt. So that's great. We get that. And it looks like a good representation of the on screen costume. And I'm willing to bet that the neck is going to be a dumbbell joint, which means don't expect a lot of range of motion. I would prefer a disc hinge to get a little more range of motion, but don't expect that. The hands, probably typical horizontal, vertical, what have you, rotational, all that kind of stuff. And then the ankle rockers on the ankles. So the thigh holster, I that looks like it may be molded in the straps, and then this piece is probably glued into a recess in the leg. So similar to the U.S. agent figure from the Falcon and Winter Soldier, he had a holster on the right leg that was had just it was a molded holster and a molded pistol that you couldn't remove. So I'm willing to bet that's something similar on this leg, which I'm hoping holds the billy clubs fairly well. This looks good. These look they're not overly big. They look really well proportioned. I think the other Daredevil figures that I've seen of the regular comic version are too big, and so when they're stored on the thigh holster, it just stands out too much. So this looks very well balanced. Looks like they got that right, and then looks like really good texture to them. So the billy clubs really turned out okay. They really look good, and I like the look of them. They look formidable. I kind of felt like in the Netflix show, his billy clubs were a little too weak looking, a little too thin. They didn't look like they could really be used effectively in a fight. Not like a scream of sticks or like the batons that I think Moon Knight uses, but this picture gives you a pretty good look at the head. The eyes look a little strange, like either there's too much black around them, too much border, or maybe they're just too big. I don't know. So once I get it, I'll just have to see, and maybe I'll tweak it somehow. Maybe take the black out and see how that looks. The stubble looks solid. I wish he was clean shaven, but in the Daredevil show, Charlie Cox is often depicted with stubble. Don't know why Daredevil is typically clean shaven for the most part. but I might strip that off once I get it and leave him clean shaven. But we'll see. The paint hopefully will turn out really well. I've had my issues with how Hasbro does their paint. They seem to really skimp on that. So for a figure that is going to be roughly $26, $27 after shipping and handling, well, gosh, if it's only through Hasbro Pulse, it's probably going to be closer to 30. We're not really getting a whole lot for $30. So just you have to decide if you're as big a fan of Daredevil as I am, I'm going to spend it. And so they've got my money, they know it. But if you're not as big a fan as I am and you're not crazy about MCU figures, you might want to pass. But if you are a big Daredevil fan, uh, you know, go ahead, grab it. Hopefully, it brings you a sense of joy to have finally a decent looking Daredevil. It's not perfect. We haven't achieved that yet, but this will be a good stand-in, a good kind of substitute until we get a really good, solid re-release, re-update of a comic accurate Daredevil. And I would love to see the red suit and the armor suit again. Yeah, all of that. So even a good yellow suit, even though that's not my favorite. But this is really good. I do hope that we get the DD on his chest someday, and the it just seems like that's such an iconic symbol for him. He deserves it, and I wish it was there. But maybe they leave it off because it's on his chest and it's DD, and so people would see it and go double D, and all that kind of stuff, and be childish about it. But it is what it is, guys. I think he looks good. I'm going to pick him up. Probably order two. I wish we got more, and I definitely hope that the new series is stellar so that we can get more good Daredevil MCU. So, all right, let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will talk at you next time.